Okay, so let's continue with doing other forms for the slide, and let's go on with this cutout. So let's go back to Maya, and well, at this point let's update our Maya scene with a proper slide. So booleans, make boolean mesh, select the slide, Control W and export it. Yep. Okay, so now we have like a modern representation of how it looks like right now, and I can build up stuff upon this. So first of all, I should do those cuts for the frame to fit in, and then this like this indicator of a decocking of pistol indicator. So let's go into front view, yeah, which is back view. Start with the box, just as usual. Scale it and place it. Now select the face, the top face, and shift drag to extrude. Same for side faces. Now Control E to extrude both of those guys. And I have a good indicator here, like here is the edge of the bevel, and here is the widest part of that cut. So they're almost there, but not together. So this is a good mark for me, because my beveling starts somewhere here. Okay, now let's move those guys a bit more inside, like this. Right now I'm just eyeballing this part because why not? Okay, so now let's do another cut. Select the top face, extrude it again, move it higher, and it is thinner, so select these guys and scale that in. Just double checking with the reference, somewhat like this. Now this part has really big beveling. Don't afraid to add a lot of segments. So guess it's bigger, like so. Yeah, this is okay. Now one last thing left here is like this small add-on there. So select the edges, connect 2 times. This one's going to be to make that add-on, and this one is a supporting edge right there. And now select vertices, and well, this is okay. So select this face over here. Well, Select the object, select the face, select this one, shift drag, but right now, but it's kinda wrong there because I have to fix this problem over here. It creates like there are overlapping faces and I need to do something with that, so I'm going to connect this part as well with one like this. Now I'm selecting this face, delete it. Same thing with this, delete it. Now this is a bit over the top, but move it to here, snap it to this point, and now let's go back in perspective, isolate it, and now just target weld like this and like this. Okay, now it looks good. Weld these guys as well, and one thing left here is supporting edges right there. 2, scale outwards like this. Okay, this is going to work. Export this guy here. Don't forget to select your tool with booleans, and let's add this guy into slide folder. Symmetrical triangles only. Let's crease this guy. It almost did the way I wanted it to do. Yeah, this looks good. Set to subtract and move it further. Reset the pivot, center it, and push it in. Okay. This looks good. Well, I'm looking at this beveling here, and right, I would just crease this part just in case. And I think I would like to make a creasing there. This part, so that the edge would look sharp. And same, I guess I'll do the same for here. Let's check it. No, not, well, I selected the wrong faces. Now there's going to be this edge. Yeah, you can see this really sharp edge. It will be gone anyways when I will dynamesh the whole gun, but let's keep it now like this for now. So it will be just a good indicator. As you can see right now, I'm not fitting that perfectly because I made this line. So select these guys and just scale them in just a bit like this. Yeah, this looks good. Still I can see some issues right there. This is like nothing too special, not a problem. This is an issue caused by like dividing this mesh, because as you can see right here, something weird is going on. That's because of like the conflict between creasing and the topology of the object. Well, basically there's nothing bad about it. It's just you can get some errors while previewing booleans. If you want to fix that, you just like crease the hell out of this part so that everything will be creased like this. So you can see I just added before that this crease over here and this, and it's like chilled down this topology issue, not like here. And if I go out, yeah, now you can see nothing happens there. It looks perfectly nice. So I have this cutout here. Basically, I'm not going to model the interior of the slide because there's no necessity in that. I don't want to waste polygons and texture space for parts that are not going to be seen. So again, if this is a project for like personal, educational or something like that, for personal purposes, you can model that, but like if you're doing this for video games, most likely you're not going to do that if that part is not going to be exposed in a game. So I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to save my polygons and texture space. So this is like how deep this thing gonna go in, and that's it. So I can use this shape again for creating this like insertion over there, and let's do that. It's going to be easier in Maya, so export this guy back and delete this one and import that one. I could use that one actually, but I scale it at some point, so just to double check it and making sure that it's the same object. So go into back view again and just delete unneeded faces right there and move those guys a bit up right there. And there is also some geometry right there's a hole, and deselect those faces, edges and bridge like this. And right, I move only this point but not this one, so select snapping to points, select this guy, going back to front view, the back view, and shift drag to extrude this guy out right there. And those corners should be beveled, so let's do beveling there. Deselect these guys, deselect these and these. You can see I'm just like blind selecting those edges. That's because I just know how they're going to be selected, but sometimes you should be double checking it in a perspective view. You can see that I missed this one. So now let's bevel those. Add some segments right there. I guess I'll stick to this amount of segments there. This looks good. Let's add this guy as a supporting edge. Same here, here, right here. This guy is going to be the supporting edge there, and another one here, like this. Okay, this looks nice. Let's export this back. Duplicate it, import, crease. Yep. And now let's move it in. Right, move it to the folder, but set it to as a separate object by hitting this arrow, because this is a separate object. I don't want this to be dynameshed together with the slide. Move it in. Don't have to be 100% accurate there. Well, as you can see here, like the silhouettes of the cutout in the slide and the shape itself, they are like 100% matching. And when I move really close one to another, there's like almost unseen seam between them, and that's okay. At this point it is okay, because when I'm going to dynamesh it, the seam will appear because of the beveling, like the soft bevel on both objects will reveal a nice and good looking seam. Right now we can't see it because there's no like soft bevels, and that's okay. So I'll leave it like there. This is perfectly fine. So let's make this cocking indicator. Duplicate this guy and let's insert there a cylinder, which is, I'm going to use 20. It's already in the center of coordinates. This is good. Shift D and, well, right now I'm not sure if I'm going to bake this object or model, so just in case I'm going to model this, which is kind of unlikely. I'm just checking the amount of edges I have on this part, because this is like the most essential part of the gun, because this is what you're going to see when you're like aiming in the game, and it can be zoomed in really close, probably like this. And you should not like save your triangles over there. You should put as much as possible over there. This is like the most important part, so don't try to save your polygons right there. So let's move it in, make a cut right there, and scale it like this. Alright, now let's create another object. Just duplicate this one, move up, and this is another object. Move it in, duplicate again, move back into folder, set to subtract, scale it just in case there so that it will affect it for sure. And now let's adjust the diameter like this, and now duplicate this thing again, and now this is finally like this small metal pin that pops out when the gun is armed. Okay, so move it like this, and we're done with this part. So like this like wall in the gun will be like just blackened and darkened, so like hiding the absence of the internals. So this is going to be fine. This is okay. Okay, so let's add a frame part over here, because as you can see here there's some like addition on the frame, and I think there's like a soft transition between this and this surface, so I should consider that. Let's double check the reference. Yeah, another thing I noticed that this backside of the frame has like a slope over here. It's not straight like mine, so I guess I'll have to edit that. Well, I'll do that after I'm going to create this addition, like this part. So save the scene, and let's create another update. Here it is, Control W, export. and hide this, delete this and this. Import. Now you can see how it looks. You can do some stuff based upon that for a better understanding of what's going on in this scene, because the edges are extremely sharp. And whoa, as you can see, we have this issue right there, just what I was talking about, because of, you can see like the faces are going on top of each other, creating this mess right there. Well, that's not that too bad, but you can see like some errors on shading there. So like this is not crucial, it will dynamesh anyway, but if you want to like get rid of this, you just do the same creasing stuff as I did on the front part. So what I was saying, as we can see here, like the edges are so sharp, so it's kind of hard sometimes to navigate across this scene. So what you can do is to turn on the ambient occlusion of the scene. That will shade the internals and like the places where like transition from surfaces happens. So it works basically like an ambient occlusion in any like engine or marmoset. So now it's easier to indicate where like a surface ends and a new surface starts. So let's get back to our shapes. So just like usual with the box and cylinders, like the main bricks of any object, right? Always start with the box or with the cylinder. So select those guys. Align those. Well, if you want to get too fancy, you can just snap those to the vertices, so you will be like 100% accurate. Same thing here. Well, actually, I'm doing a stupid job, because I can use this form, which I already have. Exports. Right there. Now I'm deleting these guys. Right there. I don't need them. Select these edges, deselect this, and bridge. Right there. And you can see like there's a cutout over there. Let's do that. And I think it's not 100% in the middle. It's somewhere moved. Well, first of all, let's move this guy in. And center the pivot right there. And move it in. Right now I'm like dragging the middle mouse button, as I was mentioning before this trick, so it repeats the last action you did before that, and that was a move. And snap it to this point, these points. Okay, so, and that one last thing left. Move this guy to side. And extrude inside just a bit. And you can see there's an issue over there, because we have to like struggling faces, like this face and this inside face. So in order to fix that, just delete those guys and reconnect them. Turn off the ambient occlusion. Just close hole here and close hole here, and just reconnect the points right there. And now like one last thing left is this soft transition, which I would like to add, as since this is a frame part, the polymer frame part. Move these bad boys up and select the bottom faces right there. Shift drag. All right. And just select these bottom guys and move those out so that this like some sort of beveling appeared. Just adding a supporting edge there to make it more curve-like, like this. Not sure if it's gonna work actually. Anyways, okay, so let's use this thing. If I would like to change something, I can do that in ZBrush. Now select your frame right there and let's add this guy back into the frame. So select the lowest, duplicate and import. Same thing here. As you can see, they're perfectly fit to each other, so you can't even see the gap there, but it will appear. Trust me. So the only thing right here that, well actually I'll keep it like this so far. This looks still fine. I was going to divide this thing and crease all the parts, but this like this side, which should be smooth, and I don't need to smooth it because it's so much small and so teeny tiny. You won't be able to tell that it is not smooth even from this from this distance, but this is already too close, so I'm not going to bother about that. This is fine. So another thing I was talking about is this part over there. I don't think it's accurate that much, so let's revise this object and delete this guy, import this back, so I had like in Maya better control over this. And let's check on reference once again. Yeah, there's definitely like a slope over there. It's not straight, it's not parallel to ground. And on the back you can see that like obviously there is. So let's do that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to move all of those guys just slightly more back and select these guys and move those down, but before that I think I'm going to create another supporting edge right there, which will actually mess this shape. No, I'm going to use these guys. Selected the wrong one there. I will use this one as a supporting edge right there. And now let's move those guys down. Let's go back to side view and rotate it like this. Move to adjust a bit better. Turn off the transparency and turn on the symmetry to affect both sides. Just like manually dragging the vertices. You can hit 3 to check out how it looks when smooth, turn off the wireframe there. And now I have this like small slope, but still I need to enforce that supporting edge there. So move this guy even, just move it closer to that edge so that this edge would be harder. Now let's double check with the reference. This one is like really tricky part because at any like picture you can see it differently, and basically there's a different picture, so you have to adjust all of those at the same time, which is not that easy. No, this guy goes down and these guys just follow it just a bit. I'm just trying to create this arc over there because you can see it obviously like this. Yeah, I guess that's fine. I want to move those guys further here, just as well as these, to make this edge harder. Which is actually not that hard. Or not. It's really hard to tell, you know? It's really hard to tell. Just eyeballing these details right here. Trying to just to get there. Come on, object mode. Well, that's fine. It'll do. Okay, let's replace the file, replace the mesh. Here we go, and don't forget to do the creasing. Crease this part and crease that one. Okay, this looks more accurate, but now you can see that there's like a tiny gap over there between those guys, so I just move those points lower. Right now you could see that I like hit W to move, but like the pivot was somewhere there, and in order to find this I had to rotate my scene, but I don't want to do that because I'll lose like the good angle on this thing. So I just like hit Y for like the old school ruler on ZBrush, just drag it out like this, and now you can hit Y again, and at this point there'll be like there's new pivot. Reset it, center it back, and now you can move it like this. Okay, this looks good. Let's apply poly paint as well for this guy. There, yep, this looks good. Okay, so this part here, I would actually turn off the poly paint on this guy so that we could see the difference there. And one last thing I think that I'm missing there is this height of this thing. I think it's higher. Just like there. Right, and now same thing for this guy. I'm not going to snap to those points. I'm just going to eyeball this almost perfectly. Nothing fits in real life that perfectly. Well, I actually did that. Okay, that's fine. This looks great. So we can call this part officially done. Right, so let's go back to another side and continue. Save the scene. And right now I'm going to do like this over here, like this part. So basically this thing holds the captive spring, like the main slide spring that pushes the slide back into battery after the shot of the gun. And so it holds on here, and as you can see, when the slide is back at its like farthest position back, you can see there's like this rod over there, and the spring is compressed and is there. So this is how the spring looks like. And let's go and do that part. So first of all, I would like to create this half cylinder over here and attach it to the main, to the slide. That's going to be pretty much easy. I'm going to use the same cylinder as for the barrel because it has the exact amount of edges that I need for this purpose. I want the amount of edges to be the same because they're like two cylindrical shapes at almost the same place, so obviously you need to have the same amount of edges. I actually have this part here, so I don't need to export it back. So let's select these guys, select and move this part over there. I would actually like to duplicate this cylinder as I would need it. So let's go with the duplicate of this. Go into front view, turn on transparency and select the half of it. It's there, right? Yeah, it's the half. Shift drag with shift and delete this part. Now close this hole. You can just close the hole or select the whole like perimeter edges, deselect those side ones and bridge. You got it. Now let's snap those birds to the slide right there. And same for this side. Actually don't need to snap it. Just make it somewhere there. You can check on a reference how thick that part is, but it's actually not that important because it's not going to be seen almost. Like it has some thickness, so let's just do that. Something like this. Okay. Now right. Okay, so another thing left, and what should be done is, should be figured out, is the diameter of all those things. As you can see, this, like, the widest part of that cylinder is somewhere right here. Considering the edge of this bevel, it's like, it's less than I have right now. So let's scale this guy somewhere there. Or even more? No. Guess somewhere like, okay, this is fine, that's okay, that'll do. So this is the diameter of this shape. Now let's add supporting edge there, right? And let's export this guy. Yep. Select the slide and select the last object, duplicate it, import, and now just select it as add, not subtract, crease, yeah, creased properly, and it's too low. Yeah, it's too low. Okay, so select those guys and move them up. Always double check with the reference. Like you can see here, the lowest part of this half cylinder is somewhere like along this guy. So yeah. Something like this. Now let's export this guy back in Maya, because I need to adjust the diameter of the rod. Select those guys. Now move the cylinder with snapping to the center of that, like just imported mesh, like there. And as you can see, like the distance right there is, I think it's pretty much same as here, but the distance over here is much bigger on the reference than here. And that's another, not the problem, but the compromise you will have to do. Because as I said before, nothing is 100% accurate here, and you can't be 100% accurate, so you have to try and fit somewhere there, like try to be in the middle. So what I'm going to do now is just to scale this guy just a bit in to make it smaller, so like I can now make the diameter of this guy just a bit smaller right there to increase this distance between those guys, right? So I guess I'll leave it like there. This is okay. Export this guy back right there. I'm turning on the wireframe on some subtools just to make sure which I'm using to import, so I'm using the correct one. Import, crease, yes. And now I'm going to duplicate this mesh and use it to cut the frame. So just duplicate it and control arrow up. I think it's a frame. Yeah, it's a frame. So go back down until you see the first arrow. Yep, here it is. Set it to subtract and just scale it like this. So now if you turn off the slide, you can see that, yeah, there's a cutout over there. And let's continue this guy up to here. So in order to get the distance over here, there's like one last thing I would like to do. which is this cutout, which will dictate the distance that the slide goes back when it's firing. And I think that I don't have the reference for the exact position of that thing, and I think I will have to guess. Hide. Okay, so the closest reference to that guy here is this disassembly lever, which works basically, you turn this thing upwards and it will rotate. And on the other side you can see this cutout, which is connected to this guy. And you can see that this cutout here, which is going to be traveling all the way right here, and when the magazine is empty, this lever comes up and fixes the slide in the open position so that you can load another magazine and pull this guy down and the slide goes back into battery. So this is like a good orientation because I know the position of this guy over here, and I would make this cutout somewhere right there. Just somewhere right there. Right. So I'll use just a box to make the boundaries of that cutout. It's actually quite long, like this. Now export this guy to ZBrush. Turn on the slide. You can see I have this cutout for that lever that stops the slide. So let's go back to slide, right, correct. Duplicate the last subtool and import that box, which is somewhere inside of the gun right now. Shift D, here it is, right. And I think I placed it not correct. So I guess, all right, I have the side view. Yes, now we can see this. So it's almost even like following the direction of this rounded shape. So this is going to be easier if I have this reference like this, and now just scale those guys out like this. Yeah, this is perfect. This looks great. Now, why I was doing all that kind of stuff. Save the scene. Now make Boolean mesh once again. Now select the slide right here, and what I like to do at some points when I have like a lot of different traveling parts on the gun. What is this? Who are you? Just move it up. When I have a lot of traveling parts in my gun during the modeling, I like to just append into scene that collapsed model right there in its I did the wrong one, excuse me, and I did it in the wrong place. Oh my god. Or not. No, everything is fine, correct. But I still did the wrong one. Sorry guys. This is the one. Insert. This is, yeah, that's the latest one. So delete this one. So again, when I have traveling parts, I tend to like collapse them in the mid part of the modeling so that I could move it back into position of like the farthest part, how it's going to travel. For example, right there, you can see it's pretty far. And now, according to this position, I can continue modeling knowing how far this thing will go. So I'll just keep this guy here, and I will just like hide it and unhide it in certain like situations when I need to know how it's going to look when the slide travels backwards. So do I have any reference on how far it goes? Because that looks kind of far. No, but right there. Well, yeah, it goes backwards like this. Well, I'll be searching for some more just later, but for now this is good. So what I was trying to figure out is how far to put this guy. And as you can see, I like placed it far enough to cover that part. So when the slide travels all that way back, this thing is still visible there. So let's see how this interior part looks on the frame. And I don't have that reference actually. Right there. Well, I guess I'll leave it right just like this for now. It will do. I will check on that later and we'll update that. So now you can hide the travel the back slide, go back to the original one, polypaint this, no, not this. Come on, where is this guy? Polypaint this guy. And right, we were in here. Where's my cylinder? Right there. Yes, I thought I lost him. So let's go back to this guy and continue to do the rod. So you can export this guy to make a hole. Let's move it lower so it would be the last one. Duplicate and import that cylinder, crease it, set to subtract. Now we have this hole right there. And now let's do this rod over there, which looks pretty much like this. Okay, and it sticks out just a bit, as you can see here. I think it sticks out as far as the barrel. Yeah, pretty much the same. So let's unhide everything here. Okay, no need for that. I'll be able to edit that in ZBrush. So do something like this. Add a supporting edges there. Select these faces. No, delete these faces. Select these faces and Control E to extrude, but inside. Right now, middle mouse dragging there. Double check the reference. How it looks there. Oh no, not that far. So it's somewhere there. Yeah. Now select these guys, delete those, and let's fill that hole. Yeah, like this. And well, that's pretty much how the rod looks like. export it back. And duplicate and import. Crease and set it as a new object, obviously. And you can see it's pretty much there. The length is okay. Yep. So let's select the scene. Alright, so what else left? The barrel, the cutout for the barrel, sights, and small details. We are pretty much there. Some small parts left and we'll be done. So right now let's do the barrel cut over here, which is going to be pretty easy. Go back to side view, hide this guy, and go with the box, just as usual. Move it over there. Bevel these guys like that. Add some segments right there. Connect the edges for extra support. Same thing here. Right there. Okay. And export it. Select this part over there. Go all the way back down. Duplicate it. Import one. Crease. Set to subtract. And move this guy to the side, because it's not symmetrical. Let's double check this part over there. You can see like a small gap over there, which I would like to do like there. And let's double check the actual cartridge over there, because this hole is made to fit a cartridge over there, so that you could manually place a cartridge there and eject the case. The case is obviously not that long, but it should also fit the cartridge, and which is almost barely makes it way down there. Let's make it go it back. And also, as you can see, like I have this 3 inches long barrel, and this hole is actually fits it perfectly, almost perfectly. Well, actually no, not, or yes, I'm not sure. Well, I'm not sure about this part over here. It looks like it like goes on the angle. It's not flat from the side view. It's like it should be like this, but only at this part. Well, I'll search for references for those things, because if it's so, this will fill this gap between the slide and the barrel, because the slide at this point should be sealing the barrel, because the barrel is 3 inches long according to specs, right? So anyways, before that, let's do some extra cut. and duplicate this guy and set to subtract as well. Move it here and move it just like this, because this is how this cut looks like. But I guess it's not that deep. Yeah, it barely touches the surface. So move it higher like this. Yeah. And you can see, because I'm not going the whole bevel, like the bevel itself is not making it the whole way through, and you can see that it's not touching the tip. So just select this guy and move it until it fits there. Oh yeah, there's a problem there. Okay, no problem. What I can do now is to scale the bevel so that it will be thinner, like this. And now move this guy all the way down. And it's almost there. Okay, anyways, I'll keep it like this for now. Yeah. Okay, so really not much things left. I'll check on this thing and do the barrel part over there, and sights and small parts like trigger and pins and all kind of stuff, and we're almost done for the high poly. So let's go on, let's save the scene and let's move on.